Can Digimon Rumble Arena 2 surpass the original one? Find out this time on NEO Reviews. In a previous video, we talked about Digimon Rumble Arena 1, and even though it hasn't aged all that well, I still love it. It may be slow, not have the best game feel, and have some stages that annoy the living hell out of me, but I am ready to play it against anyone, anytime. I'm of course looking at it with nostalgia goggles. I played it when I was just a little weeb who was still learning his ABCs, so since I made a video about the first one, I thought why not make a video about the sequel, so here we are. Before diving into the game, I have an interesting story about Digimon Rumble Arena 2. I remember when I was about 7 years old, we were returning home from visiting my grandparents, and we stopped at a game store. My older brother went in, bought Digimon Rumble Arena 2 and came back. What was interesting was that we didn't have a PS2 at the time. So my brother bought a game that we couldn't play at the time, but he was confident that we were going to get a PS2. So he wanted the first game that we played on it to be Digimon. That was how much we loved the first one. So sure enough, when we bought a PS2, Digimon Rumble Arena 2 was the first game we played. Why are you telling this story, you might ask? Simple really, it's to extend the video as much as possible. Now then, let's dive into the Digiverse. Right off the bat, why is there no intro? The intro of the first one was something I loved to watch over and over again, and it would get me pumped and primed for the game. Also, why is the title screen being read by a random announcer and not a Digimon?
Digimon Rumble Arena 2.
Comparing the intro and the title screen of the game with the first one on the original PlayStation,
Digimon Rumble Arena!
it feels like the original had so much care and attention poured into it, while the sequel was just cutting corners. When I first played the game and saw that there was no opening and the game just went to the title screen right away, I felt really disappointed. Digimon Rumble Arena 2 is a 4-player platform fighting game with items and different types of fights. That was just a fancy way to say that it is a Smash clone. Well, Smash Melee was and still is very popular, so I can see why they would try to imitate it. However, in that process, the game has lost a lot of its charm. Playing the first one, even though it had its faults, at least felt as if I was playing something unique and different. That doesn't apply to the sequel. This time, each character has a normal attack and 3 special attacks compared to the first one which had only 2 special attacks. The special attacks are performed the same way as Smash 64. In other words, there is a neutral special, down special, and an up special. Each character can also ground stomp. Each character can also double jump, and some characters can even glide like Patamon or triple jump like Lilymon. When a character is in their final form, they can perform an ultra attack when the bar is full or perform a charge blast. Compared with the first Digimon Rumble Arena, the sequel has more varied attacks. It also has more characters, and each character that can digivolve has an extra digivolution before their final form. For example, Agumon digivolves first to Greymon, then digivolves to War Greymon. Digivolutions aren't timed now as well. Instead, digivolutions go when you lose a stock. Those are honestly great changes in the game. To unlock each character, each stage, and each battle mode in the game, you must complete single player mode a bunch of times. In single player mode, you fight a battle, then after you win, you choose a path to continue your progress. You can either go up or down. If you go up, the fights become more difficult, but have a chance to unlock stronger characters. If you go down, the opposite happens. The fights get easier, but the characters you unlock if you beat the campaign are weaker than if you went up. If you take the easiest path, then in the final battle, you unlock a stage instead of a character. Unlike the original, there are no mini-games to play in the middle of the campaign, which is something I never thought I'd miss. It was a fun way to break up the pace of the game instead of always fighting. The characters in the game are from Digimon Adventure 2, and Digimon Tamers like in the first one. But there are also characters from Digimon Frontier this time. However, some characters were cut from the game. For example, Terriermon and Renamon were cut, which is a shame because I loved them both in the original. There are also no returning stages from the first game. All of them are completely new. That should be a good thing, but the stages just feel generic. They usually revolve around a theme, like a forest stage and the Wild West stage. There's also a factory stage which I hate. Just falling turns you to a barrel and you become almost completely useless. You can only ground stomp while in a barrel. And not falling is not as easy as you think, as you fight on conveyor belts which keeps pulling you down to fall. Digimon Rumble Arena 2, unfortunately, doesn't have a soundtrack on the same level of the first one. The music just feels generic this time. For example, compare this track from the original one to this track from the sequel. Not all of the music in the sequel is forgettable by any means. But a lot of them are. Overall, in terms of gameplay, Digimon Rumble Arena 2 may be superior to the original. More special attacks, more characters, more Digivolutions, more items and battle types. The game is actually fun to play, but to me, the game feels like it lost its identity. In an attempt to follow what was popular, which was Smash Brothers, the game is not as memorable as the first one. This may be due to the nostalgia for the first Digimon Rumble Arena, but after I played the two to review them for the channel, I prefer the original over the sequel. It may feel slow and sluggish, and the battles would be interrupted by the
Digimon Digivolve!
Digivolution.
"Would you please stop interrupting me?" But I am always ready to go and play the first at any time. In the sequel's case, however, I would just prefer to play Smash. Thank you for watching the video. What are your thoughts about the series? Let me know in the comments below, like and subscribe. And until next time, bye!